So here's the challenge from OM System. Take a wildlife picture using Pro Capture, one of the great features of this camera. But there's a catch. I'm not a wildlife photographer. I'm a studio-based portrait photographer. I usually work in there doing portraits of people. Wildlife isn't really my thing. So can the advanced features of this camera really compensate for someone who's not got the skills? Well, no, but hopefully it'll allow me to take a reasonably good picture, and that's the challenge I'm going to undertake today. Hello, I'm Gavin Hoey, and today I'm going to be focusing on, well, I think birds and butterflies, because I've got plenty of those in my garden, and well, hopefully there won't be too much of a challenge. And I think the biggest challenge might well be the weather. Oh, yeah, that. And just like that, the rain stops and the sun comes out because, well, it's summer, that's what happens. Now, I might not be a wildlife photographer, but I do know about Pro Capture. And to me, the best time when it really excels is any time when you know where something's going to happen, but you have no idea when it's going to happen. For example, birds about to take off or butterflies coming into land, which is why I've chosen those two subjects. To get the most out of it, you need to set it up in your camera. So let's dive in. I'm using the OM System OM1 Mark II, and I'm going to press the menu button. And from here, I'm going to go to the shooting menu number 1, and then go across to number 7, the drive mode. Top of the drive mode list, choose that one, and you'll find, in my case, 3 types of Pro Capture. Pro Capture SH1, and Pro Capture SH2. They are all Pro Capture, but with different settings, and it's basically the frame rate at which you can capture your image. Pro Capture maxes out at 20 frames per second, Pro Capture SH1 at 120 frames per second, and Pro Capture SH2 at 50 frames per second. Now, before you get too hooked on the numbers, remember that is the maximum frames per second, and all of them can be reduced. Whichever type of Pro Capture you decide to use, you can use it in the default mode just fine, or you can customize it. Now, to do that, press the menu button, go back to drive mode number 7, and this time choose sequential shooting settings. Go down and press the right button to choose whichever Pro Capture you've decided on. You can change the maximum frames per second, but it's the pre-shutter frames I'm really interested in. Now, think about me. I'm not a wildlife photographer. I'm going to be reacting to things that happen rather than predicting them. So I'm going to choose a lot of pre-shutter frames. And then I'm going to come down to the frame count limiter and just add another 5 frames. And that means I'm going to get a lot of frames before I fully press the shutter, and just a few frames afterwards as a safety net. I'm going to use the Pro Capture and also Pro Capture SH2. Now, the Pro Capture is fine for general things, but Pro Capture SH2 gives me a slightly faster capture rate, which, if you're working in variable weather like I am today, might be just the ticket. Yeah, that sky is looking super dramatic, which might make it a bit more challenging for the butterflies, especially if the breeze gets up. But for the birds, I've actually got these logs here, which we put up as part of the wildlife garden. I think they're going to make a great perch. So this is where I'm going to set up. Now, even I know I can't be this close to the thing I want to photograph, so I'll back up a little bit and find somewhere to take some pictures. But once I've got my shot framed up, I'm actually going to half hold the shutter. Now, that will start the Pro Capture running, and you'll notice it's going because there'll be a little double arrow in the bottom corner of your frame. All of the time you're half holding down the shutter, your camera is recording those pre-shutter frames into its temporary buffer, and it'll keep doing that until you let go of the shutter, at which point they all get deleted. But if something exciting happens, press and hold the shutter down, and those images will get written onto your memory card, plus the few extra after the event as well. Now, you won't hear anything whilst you're half holding the shutter because it's using the camera's electronic or silent shutter, which means you get a blackout-free viewfinder and obviously no wear and tear on your shutter mechanism. Okay, I'm not the best wildlife photographer, and to get there, I think I would need to spend a lot more time and practice. But I have to say, Pro Capture has been a fantastic feature for really getting a head start on the technique. Now, 3 things I've learned along the way that will really help you. And the first one is, if you're going to use Pro Capture, you really need to get fast memory cards and big memory cards, because Pro Capture is a terrific way of getting images, but also filling up your memory. Next is autofocus is everything. And if it helps, use the advanced auto features of this camera. For example, bird detect was super useful. And then of course, there is the thing that you can't get from OMSystem, and that is time and patience. Things you don't normally need when you're photographing people, but you definitely need when you're photographing wildlife. So with that in mind, whilst the weather's still nice, I'm going to wander off and take a few more photos. I'm Gavin Hoey. Thanks for watching.